and we have really a couple links that you've seen before, and we're reorganizing them. But one link you've never seen is this Venture Items Manager. And we're still updating the appearance on a couple of these pages. But we can manage several things. We can manage at a starting point dealer items. Those are items that you enter. And so if I click on that, you can see dealer items over here. And I've loaded some data for fun, like this is a category. We also can handle categories. So you can have different categories of product, and then you can sort based on those categories. So like in this case, I clicked on a category called black pipe and fittings. And that opens a window that shows all of the items in the category with an alternate product code. That's another thing that we've had requests for. You can call any item in this system anything you want. And so you don't necessarily have to remember that the product code is WGB 453255. The other thing that we're doing is, because of the structure, we're incorporating a product, what we will call Venture V price, and it's a fixed pricing strategy. And I'm not going to show that to you today because there's still some stuff we're working on. But it works in exactly the same way that these items we're looking at are. There will be a part number that'll be in our system that we're trying to normalize a part number system, but you would be able to search for something like a 1/4 horsepower motor, and it will display results in this environment. And in that case, this search system, if you search for motor, would work. But you could also theoretically want to give it a number like M34 because you use it all the time and you can remember M34. And that's what this alternate product number is for.
Chris?
Yeah.
Do I understand that we can search for any item that's in this database from the invoicing screen?
Yep.
By name?
Yep.
Or number?
Yep. Or alternate code, whatever name you give it.
Okay, great.
Yeah, there's a lot here. So just so that you can see how it would work, I can put in a fitting, and I can put in an alternate product code like B90G, and the description might be 1-inch BLK Malibu elbow 90, and I can put in a price of $4, and that basically creates a new item. And so see, now you see the new item here. The other interesting thing that we're doing is that you can control the tax default, and that also interacts with the company tax setting. But at any rate, if you have some items that are taxable and some that are not, you can control that here. The other thing that we're doing is we have the ability to do mass price changes. So what I just did here is I can click this multiplier mode, the pricing of these 3 items, and I could do a whole page or pages and pages, and I want to increase it by 5%. I can go in and do that. There we go. So it's a way of managing these prices in a broader or a mass scale. The other thing that we're starting to put in here is you can see there's a costing structure that we're starting to provide. Right now, with the update that we're going to be pushing out tomorrow, we're not really doing much with the cost. However, in the V price system, and also going forward, if we are going to roll out a purchase side of Venture, so that if you had a guy and he needed to run down to the supply house to pick up some stuff, he could write a purchase order in Venture, and one of the strategies would be, this is sell price, this column. Well, you could do a calculation for sell price based on cost. So basically, you have complete control over these items.
on back to the multiplier. So is there a graduated scale that we can use to attach a multiplier to a cost, or is that coming? So if it
There is something that we haven't launched yet, but we have essentially an algorithm that's I shouldn't use that word. It's a graduated multiplier. So you can say, okay, if the item costs $1, then the multiplier is this at the bottom end, and if the item cost is $1,000, then the multiplier is this at the top end, and that essentially forms a curve,
yeah.
and you can apply that curve to any product or group of products in this environment. That's what we're working on primarily. That's what will drive this fee price system.
Yeah.
And it would also, I think, right now, without you guys, I don't envision you guys entering a bunch of costs in your venture items and then calculating it that way, or you might. But when either you start using a venture as a purchasing platform for your supplies during the day, or if you use V-price, then that cost algorithm to sell calculation becomes pretty critical, and we will have that. So we have this model table, and these are all the manufacturers in our database. And these are all the Renai models that are in the database. For the links there are pretty small, so if you didn't see it, I just went and I selected Renai. And these are all the Renai models in the database. We can do the same thing here that we could before. You can go in and do a mass change on all this stuff. But what the point here is that you can go in and program pricing on the items that you sell. And this preferred basically means two things. One, it means that it's an item that you sell. So it's an item that you want to come up in what we would call a short search scenario on an invoice. So like for Jeff, for you, if you're out quoting a Mitsubishi or something, you could put the pricing in here and it will pull this pricing into a quote or an invoice, or the tankless water heaters that you guys focus on. And by setting these check boxes, there is a two-level sort. The first and easiest sort is any items that you programmed in here and that you've indicated are preferred will be come up very rapidly in a sort. It also will control, for most of you who have one of our websites, it'll control the items that appear on the front side of your site. So that's what this is all about. And this is where we're now giving you access to these model numbers, not just as a source of literature, but now, and to be able to register model numbers kind of on job sites. Now you'll record model numbers within the process of creating quotes and invoices, and it will no longer require secondary registrations. And it also gives you stability to your sell prices on the model numbers you do focus on.
As to the pricing, if a tech were out in the field, let's say invoicing, and they were to pre-populate an invoice with one of these items, would they be able to change the pricing on that, or is that pricing controlled by the administrators at a PC?
That's a setting.
That's a setting?
That typically they would not control the pricing unless they had a higher security level.